Hello, everybody. Welcome to Explore Classroom. My name is Jennifer Bergen, and I am so glad that you are joining us today. This month in the United States, we are celebrating Native American Heritage Month. And by honoring the legacy, contributions, and cultures and stories of Native Americans, we can see a more complete narrative of the United States. We hope all of our viewers are going to take some time this month to learn about the Indigenous history and impact of Native persons where you live. At National Geographic, we use the power of science, exploration, education, and storytelling to illuminate and protect the wonder of our world. Explore Classroom connects students worldwide with our National Geographic Explorers for a short lesson and time for your questions. This school year, each month will be organized around a specific theme. So this November, Explore Classroom is exploring the importance of learning from the past, which leads me to today's guest. Today, our explorer is Nora Shawki. Nora is an Egyptian archaeologist who digs through history. Her research involves unique tools, experiences, and problem solving to uncover how non-elite ancient Egyptians lived and how they honored their culture. Nora uses her research to tell stories, and these stories help protect the land where she is digging. Today, Nora will share the unique aspects and the challenges of her work, including why should we learn about the past? Why does it matter? And that digging is for everybody, including young people just like you. Before we get into Nora's lesson, I'd like to welcome our registered viewers from around the globe. Shout outs to Wonderland Avenue Elementary, Osgood Public Schools, Treasure Coast Elementary, Jamestown Elementary, Huda School, Calgary Academy, and of course, all of our homeschool families out there. We are thrilled to have you here. And with that, I'm going to have Nora turn on her microphone and get this Explore Classroom started. Nora, you can take it away.
Thanks, Jennifer. Hi, everyone. Let me take a second to show my screen with everyone, and we'll get right into it. All right. So, a glimpse into the past. So I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Nora Shawki, as Jennifer introduced me. I'm an archaeologist, so I dig in Egypt. And yes, I'm Egyptian, and I'm calling you guys from Cairo today, which is the capital city in Egypt. So when anyone says ancient Egypt, what do you guys usually think of? The pyramids, or King Tut, or mummies? I mean, you guys are right about all of this. Ancient Egypt is packed with lots of things and has a huge history. That's why we have a lot of archaeologists studying it. So this is a map of Egypt. You can see how large it is. The borders are with that little yellow line. The country is massive. And the little star up north, up there that says Cairo, that's where I am. So I'm all the way up in the north. And we have excavations all around the country. It's never ending. So you can imagine how long it takes to excavate everything here. Most people think everything's already found, but actually less than 1% of ancient Egypt has been discovered today. This is Delta archaeology. So this is very up north in Egypt. You can see now it's all green. So this means it's kind of like farming land. If anyone's familiar with the farming land you have in the US, it's the same over here in Egypt. So Egypt is most of it is desert, but there's also a lot of farming and agriculture up north. So this is where I excavate. So it's in the middle of both, desert and wet environments. And all of these little dots around, these are sites. These are all ancient and modern sites where people used to live and live today. So this is kind of a behind the scenes of what it looks like when we're digging on site. We wake up super early, usually around 4 in the morning. I know it's really, really early, but we have to start the second the sun comes up because we need to be able to excavate as long as we can. And this is kind of what the site looks like at that time. A lot of greenery and a lot of wet areas where they're farming. This is me in the field. This is kind of what we wear in the field. a lot of active wear. You want to be comfortable, of course, because you're moving around a lot. Usually it's really hot environments. So you have to keep cool a lot of the time. So a lot of us keep scarves that we wrap around our heads sometimes to protect us from the sun. These are some of our tools that we use. If anyone's seen any movies or documentaries about archaeologists, you always see little brushes or little toolkits. That's real. We actually do use these kits. We have little shovels that we use to dig through the dirt. And we have these buckets where we carry a lot of the dirt to move it, to be able to excavate deeper and deeper down. And we have lots of measuring tools to document every single detail. This is also another aspect of the field. We have technology that we use when we're digging. So this is a magnetometer in the bottom left corner. This is something that I use to basically do a big X-ray on the ground. And this helps us see what's beneath the ground before we actually dig. So it helps us protect the land. So we're not just digging and destroying everywhere, but we're able to see where and pinpoint where we should actually dig. And on the right, that's tea. Tea is a big, big staple in Egypt, in modern Egypt's life, daily lives. And we like a lot of sugar in our tea. So you'll find a lot of that on a daily basis, and it gives you energy, more than coffee over here. This is me in the bottom of a burial chamber in a tomb. So this is what it would look like from down there. You know, you're like 5-6 meters below the surface level. So we're deep down in there. So it can be a bit dangerous sometimes, but it's super cool when you go down and you're discovering things. This just shows a bit of how it's a dirty kind of job. It's not always clean cut, you know. It's, if anyone here has been camping, it's very similar to that. You know, you're always roughing it up in the dirt, but it's super exciting. And definitely you have to take care of the sun. You always get crazy sunburns when you're digging. This is what we eat when we're there. So we're digging in areas that are villages. So they're rural areas in Egypt. So they have a different way, different culture of eating. So a lot of the times you'll find that they're not eating on a dining room table, like most of you are probably accustomed to. We actually eat on the floor, kind of family style. And we have all of these dishes that everyone shares and eats together. This is one of our staples. You know, we have a lot of beans in our diet here in Egypt. So this is one of like a breakfast dish with a lot of bread and some fried goodies as well with chickpeas. These are things that keep the energy going all day. So what do we find? Some of the things we find are like on the right here. This is actually teeth of a human body. Okay, so if you pay attention, it's the bottom jaw, same jaw, you know, we have in our bodies. This is a part of a skeleton you'll find. So teeth actually survive thousands of years. The one I'm holding here is 2,500 years old. So these are teeth that have been on this earth for a very long time. And they help us identify how old someone was. So that's really helpful. This, can anyone guess what this is? Do you think it's what, maybe a pyramid base, maybe a house? It's actually a temple. This was actually a temple foundation. So it's made from limestone. So these are really heavy blocks that are put specifically in this area to be a temple that's a very religious site for ancient Egyptians. So this one was around 3,000 years ago. So this is really, really old. And you could see it's just below the surface, that these are ancient discoveries. These things, this is how we find certain things in situ, which means as we find it, where it was placed in the ancient world. So on the left, it looks like a little blue circle. After we clean it, and we have scientists that work on cleaning these things, these types of metals, we actually discovered what it looks like on the right, which is a coin. This is actually an ancient Roman coin that was found in Egypt. So there was a lot of trade and different cultures working together thousands of years ago. So this kind of helps us see who was actually in these areas and moving around in these Egyptian sites. These are pottery sherds. So what's that? That's actually like their cups and plates, the same way we use them today, they used them the same way 3,000-4,000 years ago. So these are pottery sherds. It's made out of pottery. I'm sure if anyone's done sculpture, you probably might have pottery around in your house. This is basically like plastic of the ancient world. So you're going to find this everywhere in Egypt, all over, broken all around, because this is what they used on a daily basis to drink, to eat, to carry things. So this helps us really be able to narrow down what time period we're looking at when we're working there. This is a coffin lid. So this is actually a wooden ancient Egyptian coffin lid. This was found in Sudan because Egypt actually was ruling Sudan at one point of time. If you can look closely, you can see hieroglyphics. So this was the way that ancient Egyptians, their language. So this was the written language. You can see it looks like a lot of little shapes. It's kind of similar to emojis like we have today, that you might have on your phones or on your computers. It's the same concept, more or less. They're shapes and images that tell us a lot about how they were speaking. And in the middle, you could see the pharaoh's body. So some of these things actually survive. So this was a lid over a mummy where they would be put to rest after they pass away. This one, can anyone tell me what this is? It's an odd shape and it's inside, the sand and the dirt. So it's really hard. Yeah, you're right. It's a head. It does look like a head. So this is actually a skull, a human skull, the head part, without the body attached to it. This was found in a looter's chamber of a tomb. So this head was actually of a woman in her 20s. And we were able to tell that by the shape of her jaw, her teeth. If anyone can see really closely on the right, those are her teeth still there. So a lot of things still survive. And this one, I actually found with jewelry still on her. You could still find a necklace around the neck. This is me when I was excavating it. So you can see it's very deep down into the tomb. And we take a lot of workmen to be able to excavate. But we have to do it all really, really carefully. So all these bags next to me, every single tiny piece we find, we put it inside these bags and label everything. So it's really important to do that. This is me and another one of my colleagues in the chamber. This is when we're digging, there's a sandstorm that came up. Crazy things happen when you're on site. It's like the movies. Here's a video. I hope you guys can see it. And it's moving around the sandstorm. It's really going pretty fast and it's hard to excavate. So it's super cool to be able to get through some of these things. These are some of my workmen. So these are Egyptian workmen. This is they're very skilled archaeologists. Some of them have the wrapped around turban around their head. This is a cultural thing from the south of Egypt. And also it helps them keep cool. And the long dress they're wearing is called the Galabaya. So this is actually, men wear it as well. And it's to keep them cool in the weather. You could see them there. You might call them a dress, but actually it's a Galabaya, and men are wear it very commonly in Egypt. This is also my workers in Sudan. Super skilled, and you can't excavate without them. They are great. It's a great team. Here are some of them. You find all ages that are so curious to excavate more and more. And lovely, lovely, positive faces when we're excavating. This is us with a Nat Geo flag, as you can see. It's a Nat Geo excavation out in the field, heavily supported, and it's, the best platform. So these are some of my colleagues from the Nat Geo world, other great, great explorers all over the world. We all were inspired to be explorers and to do something that mattered in this world from when we are a very young age, around your age, actually. So, whatever passion you find, go after it. I'm totally behind that. So to leave you off with something, this is my site that I work at, my archaeological site. So it's all things from the ancient world, which is really important. But here on the left, what does it look like? It's a modern football field, a soccer field. This shouldn't be there. So this was actually built in the last couple of years on the ancient site. So this is a problem because this ruins all of the history that we're finding. And this is also modern buildings. You can see on the right, these are new things that were built today over ancient sites. So for me, it's really important to be able to protect these sites. So you can see in the very back, that's the farming land. And up front, this is where we're digging. So it's so close. They're really right next to each other. So it's really important to be able to work and dig as fast as we can. Here, there's in the village, they use part of it as a trash dump where they put their garbage. So this is actually over all of the ancient things that we're trying to find and put in museums. So this is one of the things we fight through as archaeologists, to be able to protect. So archaeology really helps us understand where we come from. This is actually me when I was around your age, actually, when I started out in the field. So definitely it's not too early to have a spark and know what you're doing. If I can leave you with anything, it's definitely protect the things you care about, whatever that is. It doesn't just have to be ancient things, but anything you're able to explore, even in your own backyard, back home where you guys are, you're able to understand more about where you come from and where we collectively are coming from as humans together, because we're all in it together. So definitely always protect the things you care about and always follow your passion, no matter what it is. Thank you.
Nora, thank you for such an incredible presentation. And now I also want to eat some fava beans. But no time for beans right now. We have got to get into questions. But first, as you're thinking of your questions, remember what Nora taught us. It is so important to connect our past to our present, and we've got to protect the things that we care about. So with that mission in mind, if you are ready to support Nora, raise your hand. Who is in? I know I am. I am totally in for this. Well, everyone, thank you so much for coming to our show today. Students, teachers, families, and of course, Nora and all our National Geographic friends. You know, there's only 2 more Explorer Classroom for Littles events this year before the end of 2022. We're going to have a winter break, just like school. You can join us next week on December 5th. We're going to learn about 2892 Miles to Go, a social justice program that highlights local community stories that are often left out of common narratives of human history. And then finally, on December 12th, we're going to be joined by explorer Lisa Briggs, who's an archaeologist and a diver who will help us understand the importance of the past that's gotten sunk under the water. You will not want to miss these events. So go ahead, register. You can already sign up for these events and more at natgeoed.org/Explorer Classroom. You know, when you register for an event, you can always ask for an on-screen spot like our guest did today, or you can even just watch from your classroom or home. And then teachers out there, you should look for the resources that we have. We've got a special learning journey for every single episode and the Explorer Mindset and Action Guide and a teacher edition. It's linked whenever you register, so be sure to check that out. Have a great day, everyone. Stay curious, keep exploring, and let's wave bye to Nora.
Bye, guys.